Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and non binary peeps. This is artist and author extraordinaire Brandon Pilger speaking to you now. And today I'm going to show you how I would colorize or apply color to originally monochrome sculpture or statue or any other piece of artwork in the program Affinity Photo. Now, Affinity Photo is kind of a lesser known program. Again, it's basically kind of kind of like Photoshop in a number of ways, except it's you don't have to pay to subscribe. You don't have to pay a subscription fee to every month or so to use it. You just need to pay everything up front, which I find very nice. Which is kind of why I switched to it from Photoshop. Now, the first thing I'm going to do here is first I should explain what the sculpture you're looking at is. This is a sculpture from the so-called Nok culture of Nigeria and West Africa. They were basically an ancient society. They were basically a culture of agriculturalists and iron workers that lived in the country of Nigeria and West Africa in ancient times, like basically during the what we would call basically like about starting around the first millennium BC, I think. I don't exactly remember the exact dates off the top of my head, but they've been around. They go back quite far back in the past, and they're pretty famous for, these terracotta sculptures. That are very have very stylized anatomical proportions, as you can see here. And I don't know if they were ever painted in life, and then the paint simply wore away. You can't really see any paint on this, but what I'm going to do is try to bring this sculpture to life, to extra life, by giving it some color. The first thing I'm going to do is use what we call a feature in Affinity Photo called the selection brush tool. I'm going to run over the sculpture. I'm going to select everything outside the sculpture right now, where we will eventually, as you can see, it's kind of like the magic wand tool. It's a bit like a brush version of the magic wand tool in Photoshop. You can kind of see of course, it's a pretty cool tool. We're going to select everything outside the sculpture right now for the time being. And we'll see why later, very soon, actually. Yeah, we're trying to. You this. Yeah, there are some, little. It's not like the magic wand always tool, perfect tool, but it is kind of pretty cool in my opinion. It's not perfect. You can adjust. I think you can adjust the sensitivity. I think to see. Uh, okay, I'm not saying. I thought you could adjust the sensitivity of the tool, but I guess not. But I do. Anyway, what we're trying to do is select everything outside the statue. And then what we're going to do is invert our selection so that it's only the statue is selected, which is, yeah, I think you can do that if pretty much any graphical editing program has an invert selection tool. Sorry, yeah. So that's pretty well. There's still a few areas we need to. You need to sure selected. Wait, if it's done. Yeah, and then you need to make sure this is selected. Okay, and yeah, and we're almost there. We're almost there, and almost there. We're very close to being there. Almost there. We're sorry. I mean, okay. Sorry, I can be a bit of a perfectionist sometimes with this kind of thing, especially when I'm doing a video demonstration in front of other people. Now what we're going to do is invert the selection. Invert the selection from, and that of course, and then what we're going to do is, well, actually another thing I want to do is kind of feather the selection to make the edges a little softer. And then maybe a little, and then what we're going to do is, we're going to add a color layer, which is a color layer. We're going to add a layer called colors. We're going to set it to the overlay blending mode, and then we're going to put it into the background layer, that is the photo layer. And then next step, and this is why we've selected everything, we're going to create a layer mask. Now the layer mask is basically kind of a, well, if you look closely at the layer mask, at this little icon here, the layer mask, the white area is the stuff you're able to edit, and the black stuff is, and the layer mask is stuff that doesn't change. So the white area is the stuff that is affected by your colorizations, and the black area is not affected, as you'll see shortly. Now, color layers. Now, you can, there are actually two blending mode. You can actually use either the overlay blending mode or the multiply blending mode if you want to get. I find it kind of depends on the. No, okay, wrong brush. It kind of depends on how dark or light the subject is. Sorry, wrong color. Kind of depends on how light or dark the subject is. I mean, if you want, you kind of want to use a multiply for a dark, lighter subject, and I find in general you use multiply, and overlay for darker subject. This is kind of a light subject, but I'm using overlay for now. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm going to show you on blending mode. I'm going to start with the eye, of course, but then I'm going to show you the skin. This is kind of me doing, actually kind of think of it. It probably look a little better with multiply blending mode. This is the blending, what changes the blending mode, and I might look a little better there. No, it doesn't really. Yeah, overlay kind of is for, I kind of said earlier, overlay is for lighter substances and multiply is for darker, but I guess it's not really, I guess since I did the multiply, the white of the eye didn't really show up, so I just decided to do overlay this time. Sorry. Anyway, we're going to color the skin. I probably won't be doing much commentary here afterwards, so because it's going to take I'm probably not going to do any commentary after this, since it's kind of a, I mean, I like talking, of course, when I do have stuff to talk about, but I'm probably not. It's going to take a while to color this, so I probably won't be talking the whole way through. And besides, my throat sometimes gets sore. So anyway, that's. So I'm gonna, I'll probably speed this up and post, and then what I'm gonna do is speed this coloring process up in post production, and then and then you'll see me doing the coloring process while I'm sorry, I'm not. You'll see me do the coloring post sped up. Okay. should be pretty much done here. I want to experiment with how it looks like in different blending modes for a moment. Like here's soft light, okay, too soft. Overlay is kind of what we had by default, and I want to see what it looks like in multiply. You know, it doesn't actually look that bad at multiply, but you know, I guess multiply it does look darker, which probably is, but you know, I mean, I guess in general, I guess overlay kind of looks the best to me. It kind of captures the brilliance of the subject a bit better. So, you know, actually, you know, I mean, I'm thinking out loud, of course. Hmm. Although multiply is, multiply looks a little. I might do a little bit more in multiply, so even up the skin tone on multiply a bit. I think the darker colors look a little better in multiply in the multiply blending mode, whereas the lighter colors look a little better in the um, in overlay. I could have probably just do two layers, one with multiply, and I could have just done. Kind of think of it, I could have done just two layers. I want to maybe I should have done two layers, one with an overlay blending mode and one with a multiply blending mode, and have the darkness be on the multiply mode the and the lighter colors on the overlay mode. But that's not how things progress. So um, yeah. I should also know there was some guesswork going into what colors would be projects on the cloth. Like I kind of wanted a lot of gold on them, but I suppose that and I was on the cloth to be red. I couldn't tell what was called metal and what was cloth, for instance, or what was something else. But anyway, he's going. Sorry. Well, I kind of like. I suppose it. Okay, sorry, I'm thinking out loud. I'm sorry. Trying to figure out. I think this looks fine. Okay, so anyway, you just learned my process for colorizing sculptures um, and Affinity Photo. If or although you could probably apply these lessons to Photoshop or any other art image editing program. So anyway, that's kind of how I do it. And thanks for y'all for listening to me. This is Brandon Scott Pilcher signing off. Goodbye.